intermission. Next up is Joseph Ruskiewicz. Happy engineers, better code.
Thanks, Jerry. So yeah, there seems to be a big theme of authenticity, and I want to talk about how engineers and engineering leaders can engage in authentic communication with each other. So software, as everyone knows, is shockingly hard and complex, right? Like Microsoft Windows is about 50 million lines of code. Linux is only about 15 million, but that's a lot of code. I mean, it's a big system there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and so if we take a look, this is an exponential thing. Obviously, as software grows, we add more features. It starts to skyrocket the complexity of the software. You just keep adding features on. It just gets more and more complex, harder to understand. And unfortunately, as software gets harder to understand, it's also harder to understand the contribution of software engineers, right? Sorry, it's harder to understand the contribution of software engineers. What are they doing? Like, what are they working on? And so, in turn, performance management becomes shockingly hard, right? How can you make sure a team is fairly evaluated? I mean, if we take a look at Goldman Sachs, they have 9,000 software engineers, more than Facebook. Like, this is a big problem for them. And again, the more engineers we have, it just gets exponentially harder to manage them, have a standardization of how they're ranked. It's a shockingly hard problem that hasn't been cracked yet. There's this annual review where the manager's like, well, and the developer's like, and they don't understand each other, right? The engineer talks binary and he's talking management things. Turns out you can translate English to Klingon on the internet. 53% of all software engineers do not get the feedback they expect. Like, this is a research study that they went around to all these big research software firms. It's crazy, right? Annual review. And a big problem is bias, right? This bias towards race, this bias towards identified gender, or simply because I went out for pints with my boss every afternoon, or whatever it might be, Friday night, right? And so you get this bias going on, and so engineers who are really good, but don't play that game or part of this bias, they're undervalued. They feel undervalued. They don't know where they stand, and more importantly, they don't understand why. And that's a big problem. A couple stats I'm going to throw at you. High-performing engineers deliver about 4 times the amount of productivity, right? It's really important. You got to keep your good engineers. A little over half of engineers always stay on board with bonuses, promotions, merit-based awards, and things like this. So if someone's going to quit, you want to hold on to them. A couple more stats. On average, it takes 52 days to replace an engineer. I've been told that this is low by HR people that I know, but that's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of recruiting effort. And on average, it takes $45,000 to onboard an engineer, to train them, to get them going. 6 months, so they're supposed to be productive. I've also been told that this is pretty low from HR people. So what are we shooting for, right? We're shooting for authenticity, right? We're shooting for alignment. What is this communication, right? How can we reward good engineers? How can we standardize this ranking system? And more importantly, how can engineers accept the feedback that they've gotten from their boss? I see we use the same search engine. Right? We have all these artifacts from software engineering, right? Testing artifacts, coding artifacts, monitoring, right? Bug reports. We have this entire engineering process that tells us so much about the people who contributed to it. Right? So we can track these things. We can start to measure these things, right? We can make this concept of performance transparent to both the engineer and their leaders, right? So they can have a good communication with each other and a good, understanding of where they are in a company. It also turns out that there's a science of team chemistry, and you have 4 major types: the pioneer, the driver, the guardian, and integrator. And this is what conceptually is supposed to make a great team. And using these qualities, we can also start to categorize people, right? So we can start to balance teams. We can make teams that succeed. Like, I've heard so many stories of I don't know how to arrange all my engineers into good teams. This is something that can help them, right? And more importantly, it turns out that engineers, if they understand why they're ranked and why, they accept the results, positive or negative. And that's really, really important. And that's how you hold on to your really good engineers. Anyways, shameless promotion, company stack. We're trying to solve this problem, and we're trying to help engineers understand where they rank and why, to help that communication with managers. Thank you.